Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Parker Pod. Today's guest is one of the most electric, uplifting, and multi talented people I've ever had the privilege of calling a friend. We go back to our days at Crunch Fitness where we used to work together, but since then he's been on a whirlwind journey, becoming a photographer, videographer, rapper, vlogger, social media influencer, comedian, and even launching a podcast with his grandmother that has been having some complications recently, but we'll get into that on the podcast. He's an entrepreneur, business owner, an event host, and he's one of the most magnetic, faith driven individuals you'll ever meet. Through every high and low, he carries a contagious energy, an unshakable smile, and a drive that never stops. Today, we're going to dive into his journey, the challenges he's faced, and the unstoppable mindset that fuels everything he does. I introduce to you none other than Lee Teharte. Lee, how are you doing today?
Joe, I'm good. I'm good, man. How about yourself, bro?
I'm great. I'm fantastic. Let's just dive right into our background and your background as well. We used to work at Crunch Fitness together.
Yeah.
Back when we worked there, you were an MIT, I believe, for the front desk to be a GM
Yeah.
eventually. What was like, even during that, did you have the idea and did you picture yourself for doing all these different creative ideas and entrepreneurial businesses that you do now?
Yeah, man. It was always a job for necessity. You know what I'm saying? Even prior to coming to Crunch and working for them, I had been working with a comedian as his personal videographer for like the last 4 years, and I just kind of got tossed aside. So I was like, I gotta pay these bills. You know what I'm saying? So managing was what I knew. So that I always knew that was a stepping stone to something different. The hardest part is just that I never knew the blueprint. I don't know the blueprint. I don't know when and where and where I'm gonna land, but I know it's always going to be something in the entertainment realm. But yeah, I kind of knew that. I just didn't know exactly what the next phase was going to look like.
So with the comedian that you initially were with, was that like kind of like the first experience that you had doing photography, videography, or was that just did that stem from something beforehand?
Yeah, I mean, the first experience I had was basically me filming my content. Like literally, the way I got into it was because I wanted to make a spoof video one time for Instagram. A friend of a friend was like, "Yeah, I know a guy. I got a friend. He'll give you a good price." I was like, "Hey, man, how much you'll charge me to do this?" And he's like, $800. I was like, $800. So I was like, you know what? I'll spend 800, but I brought a computer, I brought some software, and I shot it myself. And ever since then, I was just shooting things myself. So that was my actual first experience because I wanted to create my own content. And then working with the comedian was like what really grew me and took me to the next level. And having for me to learn and teach myself the things that I needed to learn to be able to do photography and videography to where I am now.
Did you take any sort of like classes or certification, or was it just purely just diving in and just having that experience?
Bro, not immediately. I've since taken some classes, but at first, bro, it was just me diving in between like reading on some stuff and YT University, YouTube University, man. You know what I'm saying? Just going into it and ironically enough, I knew a lot that I didn't know I knew, but just because I was, from watching shows, you know how you watch documentaries and stuff like that. So even when I would set up my own documentary, it wasn't something that I looked up in YouTube when I was doing certain things. It was just visually, I've seen it like this before. So I was like, oh, I want to do it like what I saw. And then later on, as I was learning stuff, I was like, oh, that's why they do this. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Yeah.
So you feel like you have that innate artistic ability in order to shoot those shots. Where do you think that comes from? Is it someone in your life, or do you think that's just like an innate thing that you have?
I think it's just innate and visual. Like nobody really around me was ever really doing anything like that. But it's just visually what I see. Some people like I can take photos, and I don't think I have a necessarily an eye for photos. But when it comes to video and how to evoke emotion, yeah, just visually, music, sounds, and people make me see certain things, bro. So it's innate, I guess.
Okay, all right. With everything that you have going on, right? Because like
hmm
videography, photography is just kind of like a little portion of what you have going on as a whole. How do you decide what to focus on and what to truly put your energy into?
Bro, honestly, that is one of the biggest struggles that I deal with me personally, because there's so many pockets of things that I'm good at. And so right now, the videography and the photography is the main thing I'm focusing on because it's the easiest thing that I can know I have that's tangible to tell somebody, hey, I offer this service, pay me this. As far as my comedy, my rapping, or whatever else, I don't know how to necessarily get paid on those immediately. So I just keep kind of throwing them out to the world as I can. But even right now, what I'm noticing that I'm getting pushed more so towards photography than videography. Buddy of mine, he'll tell you, he's the one, he's a photographer. And I used to complain a lot about photography because I'm like, I don't get this, I don't know this, I don't know this. And he used to joke with me. He's like, you're always complaining. Why you do it? I was like, man, because people keep asking me about photography. And so now, ironically enough, I get booked more for photo shoots and events for photos than I do for my videography. So I guess to answer the question, initially money was the thing that motivated to tell me, hey, go to this direction first or work on this thing because I know I can get money to pay for things immediately with this service that I can market to somebody versus my hosting. Yeah, I host events, but that doesn't come up as often. So, but that is a challenge for me because it's a passion for me to create in general. Like if I was stable, if I was just, I had a great job that was just paying me great, I would still make videos. I would still do all this other stuff. That's just because that's what I care to do. But I want to make a career out of it one way or another. So it is hard for me to figure out which one of those things to push hard on. Because, if you got five things and you're trying to give a certain percent to each one of them, they're not getting enough. But you gotta figure out which one you need to do at the time. So right now it's videography and photography, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And we even talked about that to an extent
Yeah.
when we were on the phone. We were saying, I mean, at least my perspective of it was, well, from a market economics standpoint and a financial standpoint, there are more people that want photos done than videos done. But because there's such a niche market of people that want their videos done, you can charge a higher fee for that because they
Right.
specifically want those videos done. But photo shoots is kind of like your bread and butter. I mean, I know you said that you're better at and you enjoy videography more,
Mm-hmm.
but it's what keeps food on the table and it's what keeps money coming in, those photo shoots.
Right.
Do you feel like event hosting is what you truly love to do, or do you like the videography portion of it more?
I think I like the hosting more. Videography is just fun to me. I like to create. Hosting and the comedy stuff is just, you put me in front of a camera or audience, man. I'm gonna have a field day. I'm a kid, you know what I'm saying? So I definitely like doing those things more. But the videography is a strong second.
Yeah. With hosting, what are the different things that happen in the background that people may not necessarily know happens or see because I mean, to them, you're a stage presence, right?
Right, right.
But what are the intricacies that happen, backdoor that not a lot of people know about?
Man, it's so one of the things, it seems easy, but it's like keeping the audience and keeping the energy in a room up when you have multiple different people and a lot of different things going on and still trying to navigate, people talking and different things. That in itself is a struggle. Behind the scenes, I have all these, depending on what type of event it is that I'm hosting, I have to remember names. I have to remember to give shout outs. And I'm terrible with reading names, right? So literally backstage a lot of times, I'm like, yo, how do you say this? Okay. And I got to repeat it to myself, or I'll cross stuff out on the paper to spell it the way that I'll remember to say it, how it's supposed to be said. You got that going on. And then just when the program changes, things that I host almost never go as planned. People drop out, people could pop back up, or we're adding this. So you have a whole itinerary of how things are supposed to go. So I have to weave in and out of that itinerary when things change. And then sometimes they're going to put me out there. They're like, hey, we got a gap of time that we need to fill until so and so gets here. Now I got to figure out how to mess with the audience, joke, or do something to fill that gap of time. So it's the timing, it's the names of people and those details that people don't typically see when it comes to hosting. Aside from that, but while dealing with all that, I got to make it look like we're still just having fun.
Mm,
Unfortunately, I don't show a lot of stress on my face, but my body
mm,
temperature goes up. I can't
mm,
control my body temperature, and I just start sweating. And with the beard, you can't let the beard sweat. You got to keep the rag. But those are the intricacies of like hosting events that people don't typically see because I got to still make everything seem seamless. Even though I'm like, and the next act's not here, something happened. It was one time the band was supposed to play. The lead singer got sick. He had to run to the bathroom real quick. You know what I'm saying? So I'm over here
mm.
joking with the band, and I got the band. So you got to try to cover for those things and account for that. Or belligerent people in the audience. Depending on what type of event you got. Now they're drunk, and you don't want to make anybody feel bad. It's still an event. You want them to have a good time, but at the same time, you got to handle those situations. So it
Mm.
is a lot that goes into it rather than just standing up there or dancing or however I decide to do it. So I'm glad you asked that question though.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to like when you say like handling someone, is that something that they put on you, or you handle them because they're shouting out while
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
talking? Or okay,
So no, they don't put it on me. Most of my events have some type of security, but I'd rather get someone to calm down and to get somebody kicked out if possible. Because ultimately, I want them to enjoy whatever the event is. And then I get it. We all done been there. We drinking. So if I can make you laugh, if I can bring you back, and while your friends are trying to help you, I would prefer to try to do that rather than get somebody kicked out and miss the whole event. But it happens.
yeah. What's one of your go-to fillers as well? I know you had mentioned that you like try to like joke with the audience. Do you have a go-to filler, or are you kind of just based on the vibe of the audience?
Vibe with the audience, but definitely dancing and music. Music's my thing. If I got a live band, oh, we finna have a good time. I'm gonna figure something out with that. So typically, I'm gonna do something with music. I might bust out and start rapping. I don't care if it's a church. I can pull.
You just freestyle rap just in front of
I just freestyle. I get everybody to clap their hands because it's something about rhythm. I don't know. No matter the audience, if you get people to clap their hands, some white audiences they might be off a little bit, but no, it's something about music and rhythm that levels people out. And if you can play and throw some comedy in with that you can kind of kill some of the time. But or sometimes I might just go back and forth. Now I might lean into some comedy and then start joking with somebody in the audience. Those are my main go tos. Where if something hit the fan and I had to kill some time, that's what I would end up doing, and or just dancing and be like, man, play that song again, DJ. I like that thing, so that'll kill time. I even do that sometimes when I'm doing my stand up. Say I forget my material completely. I'm gonna just start dancing.
So where do you typically do stand up at? Like, do you have like do you just do open mics? Do you have like gigs that you book?
Yeah, no, I just do open mics right now. I had took a break for like a year last year because I was dealing with so much stuff. So typically the Funny Bone is what I haven't been there since they changed the name because it was the Improv in Tampa. But the Improv is where I was doing it, but I took a break from it, and also I'm not a comedian where I'm like, oh, I'm trying to save this material for people to come see me. I don't know when somebody's gonna come see me, so I like to record it and post it. I don't care. But one of the venues they stopped letting us record it, and I was like, well, I don't want to perform if I can't record it and post this stuff. Because I'm like, I got material to burn. My life is a comedy show. So, but yeah, I haven't done it in a while. Every Thursday nights at the Funny Bone is usually where I go. But I keep trying to get back up there. Keep telling myself I'm gonna do it, and something else pops up. But that's usually what I do.
Is that the route you eventually want to go? Is to get into like the comedy space because you're both in front of the camera and behind the camera. Which end do you feel like you're gonna end up on?
I want to end up in front of the camera. Comedy is not. I like to make content versus actually just stand up comedy. I think that world is changing rapidly. I think it's like years ago you couldn't have told nobody that Blockbuster would have gone out of business. Like a little red box would have been the thing to put them out of business. But I can see the way things are going. Excuse me. Stand up comedy is going to be drastically different in the future. Being in front of the camera is definitely still where I prefer to be. I think even with me learning videography, I've always had backup plans with things. I used to want to be a rapper at one point, and I was like, well, if I want to get my music out there, I gotta get my music to DJs. But then I was like, well, what if I'm a DJ? So I was like, I'm gonna start DJing. I always find a back door. So I think in my head, that's also probably what I was doing. Well, out of the necessity to learn how to record myself, and then I was like, well, shoot, if I'm the person pushing the button and making the content, I can put my content out there more. So but ultimately, in front of the camera is where I want to be.
Did that start at a young age, or do you feel like as you matured, that kind of became your thing more?
Definitely started at a young age. You might not even know about this, Joe, but it was a show called Star Search years ago. Years ago, dude. Yeah, when I was a kid, they used to call it Star Search. I wanted to be on that show so bad, and I don't even know what I thought my talent was back then. I just wanted to be on that show because over the years I've done so many different things. As I wanted to be a rapper, I wanted to be a dancer, I wanted to do all of this. But I know I wanted to be on Star Search. Then you had Showtime at the Apollo. I wanted to be on that.
Mm.
So I've just always wanted to entertain. And like I said, it's changed over the years, but it definitely started as a child. Definitely started as a child.
Is there a specific comedian or host or daytime showman that you specifically looked up to when you were younger?
Growing up, I think I had a lot of influence, but it started with music early on. And I think this is gonna sound crazy, but aside from the music, it was Michael Jackson. He was such a great performer, stage presence, personality, entertainer, and I think I gravitate towards people who are just great entertainers. Even I think Lil Wayne. A lot of people love him for his music, but I was like, he's a great character. If you really look
Yeah.
at it, everybody's just a character. I was like, when he's on, he's on. He's a character. So T Pain is definitely an artist. This is in my later years, but growing up, it definitely was Michael Jackson because it was music first. Before anything else, it was music. Michael Jackson, Usher, those were the Tevin Campbell. I never forget a Goofy movie. You ever seen a Goofy movie?
I haven't
Oh my
actually,
God!
no.
So there's a one of the cartoon characters is named Powerline, and he's a singer and his voice was voiced by Tevin Campbell, but he was a great performer, great dancer. I mean, it was a cartoon, but that movie and all of that was where, yeah, I was like, yeah, I want to be on that stage. I want to dance. I want to rap and sing. So those are some of the few that growing up early on, I just wanted to be like them. You know, trying to see B2K, Omarion. I wanted to rap. I always wanted to sing. I never had a voice, but so I would write songs where I would have a singer on it, and then I would rap. But rap, sing, dance is always what I wanted to do. And then it wasn't until recently, with all the social media stuff that the video aspect of it and that changed, and I was like, oh, making content and funny things, or realistic things that I got into those new realms. But yeah, it was always rapping and dance and music out the gate at first.
Yeah, because Michael Jackson, he wasn't just a singer. And
Right.
some people, they can captivate you with your voice, and I'm sure he could have as well.
Hmm.
But the fact that he was able to hit those notes, sing full songs, and dance like that all in one created a showcase that attracted everyone's attention. Because even if
Right.
some people didn't like their songs or like his songs, they liked his dancing. And if they didn't like his dancing, he was still a nice guy. Like there were so many
Right.
different character attributes about him that made him a likable person. And that's why, like, I don't really like it when someone is so good at something that they then everywhere else in their life, they're like they're mean when they
Right.
get off camera, right? Like that's not something that I really appreciate or really like because and I get it. Like we all have our days. But like the character attributes that you have stem away from the camera and away from an audience
Right.
in a way that I really respect it, right? Like you have the same energy and you're still a great guy off the camera at Crunch. And I knew it. I knew it as soon as I started talking to you. I was like, this guy
Appreciate it.
is, yeah. I was like, this guy is awesome off camera. He's awesome on camera. He's just overall a great guy. And also, I really respected your hustle. Your hustle was insane to me. And that's coming from someone who, I mean, I know other people work just as hard and even harder than me at some things, but I consider myself someone who works pretty hard at everything that they do. And the fact that you were like, yeah, after this job, I got to go work another job for another 5 hours. And then I got to go shoot this video. And then I have a photography appointment. And, hopefully I get to sleep tonight.
Yeah.
I was just like, wow, dude. I mean, I'm just going home after this. Like this guy is insane. Like he's working 3 or 4 different jobs and and he's still here with a smile on his face. And
Yeah.
I really where's that come from?
I
Like
appreciate
that's my question.
I appreciate it, Joe. You know what? I'm going to say this, Joe. I don't know. I was born with a gift, man. I don't I've been through so much stuff as a child, growing up the way I grew up, but I was literally born with a gift. I don't really get mad too often, and I don't carry anger or resentment. It's so much so that I hated it at one point. So like every time I go to sleep and wake up, it's like a reset button. I don't. I'd have to remember to be mad at you. You know what I'm saying? I have to remember that I had a bad day, which could be a good and bad thing. But I've just always had a light. Now in my adult years, I will say the first time I started running into trouble with my positive energy and everything, it was a struggle for me. It was when I went through my divorce, and it was first. I've just always been hyper and had a lot of energy, right? And I'm never sad. I'm almost never sad. Or if I am, it just turns to anger real quick and then it gets away. But I think that's what we do as men. But I think I went through my divorce, and I think something happened. I was like, yo, what's I couldn't figure out what was going on, but it was the first time in life that I didn't have the energy and I wasn't super positive. And it messed with me because I've never experienced that. So I had to find different ways to navigate that. But for the most part, man, I think I'm just so grateful for every little thing. I think sometimes we get so far and get wrapped up with everything that we have in the world that we forget to be grateful for the basic things, man. Am I working at a job that I hate? Possibly, but you got a job. It's somebody out there who don't have a job who trying to figure stuff out. Am I not getting paid what I think I'm worth? Possibly, but you're getting paid. It's somebody out there who's not getting paid. It could always be worse. And I think part of my background and where I came from, that stays in my head. So I'm always like, I know it could be worse. So I'm always thankful. I don't know if you know, you see my car. I drove a beat up Nissan Sentra forever. It was a $500 car, but I was thankful that that ugly beat up car would crank up every day. I was
Yeah.
thankful that the AC would blow because I came from all my first three cars never had AC, bro. So they're like, this car's ugly, but the AC works. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think it was always that ability to be grateful for where I am in life. I mean, that don't mean I don't have those moments where I question stuff like, man, why me? Why this? Why that? But I try not to sit there for a long time. And even, as of late, I've read a few books over the last couple of years, and it just speaks about keeping positive thoughts, man, because our thoughts become us. The energy, what you put out there is the energy you run into. So I always try to lead with passion, lead with love, and give positive energy, man. And I think that'll attract those same people around you. And I try to be the change that I want to see. I remember one time I used to be a manager at Walmart. It was a Walmart on Fletcher, hood Walmart, just everybody in there miserable as hell. The customers miserable as hell, which is crazy because it's by USF. But everybody was miserable, and I was like, yeah, nah. And even the managers would dress like crap. I was like, nah, I'm wearing a suit every day. I'm going to change it. And they picked on me for coming and wearing a suit. Oh, you gonna change? You gonna change? I'm like, no. I have to be. They have to see us differently. They have to. If I'm wearing a suit every day, somebody else is going to dress a little bit differently, and hopefully the expectation. It was hard. It was tough, and because you do feel weird. But I always try to be the change I want to see, man. And like I say, it's a gift and a curse. And I say it's a curse. This is the one thing I'll tell you a story. There was one time when I was a kid working at a car wash, and there was this guy. He just kept messing with me. I don't know what his problem was. He was older than me. One day the guy spit in my face, bro. I was furious. I was just furious. I didn't want to lose my job. I think I told the manager, and he barely did anything. So I was leaving, and in my car, and this guy runs out in the road. I tried to run him over. I didn't hit him, so great. But I woke up the next morning, no malice, and I was like, "What's wrong with me?" You know what I'm saying? You should be angry still. To this day, like I don't harbor those emotions in the moment. Oh man, I wanted to do something terrible to him, but the next day they were gone. And at first, I hated that about myself because sometimes I think there's people you need to stay mad at.
Mm.
But I mean, I'm like, man, you know what? I think this is a gift from God, and I thank Him for it. So it's not always easy, bro. But it just happens. I don't know. That's all I got, bro.
Think first off, that's definitely a gift. Being able to start every day and not remember the past, or at least not hold some kind of malice for the past. And I really like what you said earlier about we remember to stay mad, but we forget to stay grateful. I think that's what you
Yeah.
said. We forget to stay grateful, but we remember to stay mad. And you're saying that your experience is the exact opposite.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, when you said that, I feel like I would benefit from that because one thing that I struggle with is I like to keep all my ducks in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And when the duck goes out of the row, I try to explain to other people around me why that duck should be back in the row. And it's like I'm explaining to someone who don't even know what the duck look like. They're like, okay, I got on, but all it is it's just hurting me and hurting my relationship with that person because that person doesn't even know the duck exists. But I'm telling them this duck should be in the row. This
Right.
duck should not be out of line. And they're like, what duck? What are you talking about? I have no idea. And I feel like that I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna try to use that anyway. I'm gonna
Yeah, man.
try to just forget because it's something that I truly need, and I really appreciate you bringing that up, man.
Yeah, bro. It's just one of those things. Like I say, man, in the world, I'll be, and then sometimes you just never know, bro. Like, cause I be on edge sometimes, but I'm still really positive, and I like something to happen. I'm like, man, people, you just never know if when somebody's on edge, and it might be something minuscule that you blow up on that really pushes them over the edge on something crazy. So, I try not to sweat the small things, bro. But I'm not gonna sit here, I told somebody one time, I'm like, I turn the cheek so much. I'm afraid of being upset. I'm scared of myself because feel like I may give some energy to someone that don't deserve all the energy I'm gonna give to them. And so that's something I have to try to manage within myself a lot of times. So I think I do my damnedest to not get mad, or like, because I know how to walk away from stuff, but because I'm afraid of getting too mad, because when you're nice all the time, and there's situations where I'm like, man, I really wish I would have did such and such, and it stay in my head like the dude spitting in my face, right? I'm
Yeah.
like, boy, I should have did this and this, but based off of what society says a man should do and stuff. You fight those battles, but at the same time, there's more strength and being able to be emotionally intelligent and stable and walk away from something that could potentially cause you more harm than there is in, like, no, as a man I should do this to you. So I think those are daily struggles in certain aspects and situations that I struggle with personally myself. But yeah, man, we just gotta, I think the whole world, man, if we lead more with love, bro, I think we'll be in a better space. But I get it, it ain't easy.
Yeah, I think for me personally, right, I wanna hold on to that. But just like for an example, I'll come home from the old job I used to have, and I'll tell my girlfriend everything that was going on and everything that was happening and why this person should have done this and why this person should have done that. And then I'm like, this girl also went to work. She just made me dinner. She cleaned the dishes. She did. Why am I unloading my whole day on her? Like, she didn't. I mean, I know you should have conversations with the people you love, but like, why am I unloading everything on her right now? And like, she's honestly a champion. She just stands there and smiles, and she's like, "Well, maybe you should," and then she gives a suggestion, and I'm like, "Yeah, those are things that I'm trying to work on." And but I also know what you mean by like you turn the other cheek so much, and you're afraid of. I mean, at least from my experience, like I used to turn the cheek a lot,
Hmm.
right? I used to go, "Yep, that's okay, that's fine, that's cool, yep, whatever, whatever." And then it got to a point where I was like, man, I have no, like, for me personally, I said it way too much,
Right.
right? Like, I said it even when I had a strong conviction to say no. And I lost that fire. And I just got to a point where I was like, now I'm going to say no to everybody. And that's not healthy either, right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say no to for any reason. Joe, can you come? Nope. Joe, nope, nope, nope. It just got to a point where I was like, no, no. I need to protect my peace, and I need to make sure that I'm okay first before I make sure you're okay. But then I heard a quote from Inky Johnson. Do you know who that is?
I don't know.
He's a football player. Literally, he has like 350 staples in his body from a football injury, lost feeling in his arm,
Damn.
could no longer play football anymore. But when he was younger, he had a coach who paid for him to play football, even when his family had no money for cleats, for gear, for anything. And he's like, "Coach, like, why do you do this for people?" And he's like, "Son, if you make sure someone else is okay, God will always make sure you're okay. So, like, you don't always have to rely on you. Sometimes you just help people when they ask for help, and then God will make sure you're okay." And truly, that's why I feel like, from my own personal beliefs, that you've been blessed, because there hasn't been a single time, even when I worked at Crunch, you would be like, "Yo, this is my man right here. You got to train. If you don't train with him, I mean, you could try by yourself if you want to. But I mean, if I really wanted to get right, I would train with him. But you go ahead and do whatever you want." And they were like,
Right.
"Where do I sign?" And I'm like, "He just do like that's insane." And I feel like that, containing that constant level of energy and helping people, is something that I at least want to strive for. And I really appreciate having someone like you in my life, because I can see it. I can see someone doing it. So don't ever stop doing that, man.
Appreciate it, Joe. I mean, there's a couple things there I want to touch base on. For one, thank you. I appreciate that. One, about that, I've been through that situation that, with your partner coming home and just dumping. I was working for Walmart. I would come home, I just complain. And I'm gonna tell you something that I learned in this one relationship, and it worked out. Like, we both agree that there's a time window that we both have to dump after work,
Mm,
right? After that time window, we don't let any other outside negativity bleed into the rest of the day. Whether it's
mm,
30 minutes when I first get in the house, or right before dinner, by the time, because we have family, it was me, my kids, her kids. By the time we're sitting at this dinner table, we're not letting any more of that bleed into. Because I think it's important. It's important on both sides to have that, to dump that stuff off, and then You have that designated time, and some days you might need more than other days, right? But after that time period, we don't let none of that outside stuff affect the rest of our day and our night, because it's so easy for it to bleed over. But we both do need that. That's what our partners are for. Her for you, you for her, to be able to let that off. So I think it's important to have that space. Definitely for a person like me, I needed it. I gotta let it off. But it's important to have those barriers in those boxes. Like, even so, depending on how, some people are more energy people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Depending on how you are, the size of your house, it might be important for you to have those conversations outside, so that energy and that stink don't feel like it's in the house. You know what I'm saying? So,
Mm.
like, back porch, go for a walk and vent it out, and then so the house stays feeling like safe. Because it's, some people are big on energy. You got a big enough space, you're good. You know what I'm saying? But at one point, I had a small apartment, and I'm like, let's go for a walk and let's dump all this stuff out. So your house always feels like the good space. You see what I'm saying? So that was that. Aside from that, you said something that's like the yes man. I was going to counseling. Somebody said something to me one time, and I was like, she was like, "You're a people pleaser." And I took offense to that. I was like, "What do you mean? This is the way God made me. I like to say yes, blah 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 blah." And I took it as a offense. And then I was going to counseling, and I learned a lot of stuff about myself. Growing up, I've been conditioned to be the child that doesn't want to cause any more conflict, because I've seen so much conflict going on in the house around my mom, my dad, my family, and I knew stuff was on edge, so I want to make sure I smooth everything out. And I think this is also part of my personality, but it can be to a detriment. So I would say yes to everything. I want to make everybody feel good, even if it's at the detriment to me. And my sister
Mm-hmm.
said something one time. In certain situations, what you said is absolutely true, and it will come back to you, but you have to be mindful of the people that are around you who will consistently take from you
Mm.
in relationships. And I learned that I was conditioned through my mom. I say yes to everything, even when I'm like, Mom, I'm trying to do this and this, and you want me to do this. And so then I chose a wife that I was giving everything, giving, it's been taken from. But my sister said something so profound to me one time. I shouldn't have to die so you can live. So if whatever the thing you need is, I have to take a piece of me to get rid of you. I gotta give you an arm to do make you whole. That's not healthy. But yeah, definitely doing for others, that's different. But you got, it's just, I had to be mindful because it was transferring over to everything else. I literally didn't know how to say no. I'll never forget. I was in a relationship with a woman. She was, big name at this bank, and I think I was at a mixer with her for her job, and this girl just kept following me around, and we talking, chopping it up. And she's like, "Oh, we should go out for sushi." I literally remember being like, "Oh, okay, yeah, give me a number," because I wasn't thinking nothing romantic. So it's hilarious. My girl walks up, she grabs my arm, she's like, "Babe, you ready?" I'm like, "Yeah." The girl has this shocked look on her face because she works for my girl, right? And then
Mm.
my girl just looks at me and she goes, "Babe, you're gonna have to learn how to say no." And because
Mm.
that's literally what it was. It wasn't no sexual thing. It wasn't because I wanted it. I didn't know how to say no. I didn't know how to tell, and it was those moments that changed. And when you start, like you said, when you start learning to say no, then people treat you like something's wrong with you or something. But and then at the
Mm.
same time, you don't want to become the no person. Like you said, I'm saying no to everything because it's fighting who you are.
Mm.
So it's everything is about balance and finding that balance and making sure we're not being taken advantage of by the people around us. But yeah, when you said those, I'm like, man, I know exactly what that is. I know exactly how that is. But definitely the relationship piece and the dumping, man, it's all about finding the boundaries in the space and being like, all right, babe, we got this much time. And then maybe she comes home one day and she had a rough day and she's like, babe, I need more than 30 minutes. I got you. And those are the conversations that we rarely have. And even in my situation, I'm just making my situation, it was a conversation that was had after she was tired of hearing everything. And then I took offense at first. I was like, well, if I can't vent to my woman, blah, blah, blah. But we don't think to have these conversations ahead of time, like, hey, I know you're gonna have a rough day. I'm gonna have a rough day. Let's set it at like 30 minutes to dump. Okay. And if you need more, let me know. I know I gotta give a little more that day. But it's definitely necessary to do both, to let it out, but have a window so you don't let all of that negativity at the job roll over. I used to tell people at my job, I was a manager at Walmart. Even at Walmart, they come in, they have sometimes you just got a rough day before you come in, but we gotta go greet these customers and do what we gotta do. I'd be like, hey, I put a mirror next to the time clock. I was like, check your smile. Before you go out those double doors and have to deal with these people, check your smile, leave it back here. And if you got a problem, come to my office. I'll let you get it off. I understand that, but let's not pass that energy off to our customers. That was something that I did.
Yeah, it's all about being intentional.
Hmm.
100%. And if you get caught up in those negative feelings, you're so in your head about it because you're not letting it out that you
Right.
become not intentional with your words, with your actions, with anything. And you just kind of go on this like autopilot mode where you're like, well, I'm not being extra rude to the customers. Yeah, but you're not like making their experience great either. You're just on this
Right.
autopilot of being just an okay employee or an okay, not in your case, but like an okay manager for your employees because you're just on autopilot because you have all these negative things in your head.
Hmm.
And we all deal with like things, you know, outside of work, we deal with things. I mean, specifically, you had started a podcast with your grandma that was getting some serious attention because of the conversations that you were having and some of the topics that were being discussed, and through some family things that I'll let you touch on personally, you had to shut it down. I mean, what was it like for you? What was that emotion like, having something going great and then having outside individuals kind of ruin and shut down something that was going not only for you, but also for the internet and for people that watched who enjoyed it?
Yeah, yeah, man. I mean, it's been tough, Joe. It's so the Sundays with grandma is just something that is near dear and dear to me in general because I'm like, my grandmother and I have always talked about different things over the years, and I'm like, yo, I have all this camera gear, I should record it. And like you said, I feel like these are the conversations that I wanted to share with the world because I feel like somehow we've missed that connection between our elders and us. But yeah, having it on the outside, it presents as anger, but on the inside, it hurts because basically what happened, my family turns things into something negative. I remember after the first episode, some family members called my grandma and was like, "Oh, you didn't have your hair done. You didn't put your teeth in. This and that. Oh, you telling all the business." And I was like, "That's how y'all seen this moment. You seen it as something for you to run back to her and say these things to her." So that was actually the first interaction. And then by the second time I interviewed her, she was more reserved. Because I remember on the second one, I was asking her about Martin Luther King, and I was like, "Grandma, I've only read about it in the books. How was it when he died?" And she was like, "Yeah, it was bad. It was bad." I'm like, and I could tell she didn't want to give because she's thinking about whatever my family said to her. And my grandmother's very, very, she listens to people. However you present it to her is how she'll respond. If you're like, "Grandma, that was great. That was awesome," she'll stay upbeat. But if she feels like the family is worried, she'll change. So that was the first time, and I was like, "Man, I'm gonna have to navigate this space now." By the second time, I was trying to create some merchandise for her. Honestly, I'm trying to create a revenue stream for my grandmother. My grandmother's on a fixed income. I don't have the money to help give her more. She lives alone now, and I'm like, man, people are liking this stuff that she's saying, and I'm gonna put her on a shirt, and I'm gonna put her saying. Currently, family members had problems with that, but my biggest issue was that no one brought it to me. They went to grandmother to complain about it first. "Oh, you see this? I can't believe that don't even look like you. This and that." And again, how you present things to my grandmother is how she then responds. And because she don't understand the internet and this, so she's now more reserved and she's upset about it. I say, "Grandma, if you want me to take it down, I'll take it down." But my grandmother loves me and she won't necessarily tell me the truth. She's like, "No, it's fine. You can keep it up." So I'm like, so because if it was me, I don't care about them. Like, I'm gonna do my own thing. I know who I am, but I never want to put her in a position where she's uncomfortable. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take the merchandise down. I'm still hoping that we're gonna be able to do the show. I talked to her recently. She's been out of town, and I pick her up from the airport on Sunday, and she was like, this is how I know I was more frustrated again. I said, "Grandma, I'm sorry. I apologize again." Because basically I hadn't told her about the shirts, but I wanted them to be a surprise. I didn't think it'd be an issue. But she was a little upset that she heard about it from everybody else. But she was like, "No, baby, it's fine. I prayed to God about it and it's good." Hearing her say she prayed about it let me know just how negative the comments had to be that came her way. Because no one to this day, no one said anything to me directly. They just,
Mm.
I know they said it to her. My mother mentioned something in passing and let me know that I was pretty wrong. But yeah, it's hurtful when you're trying to do something good and you're trying to do something positive. And a lot of people, I've been getting so many messages and DMs about it. A lot of people that it's really hitting a lot of people in a good way. But when the people that are supposed to be closest to you, I don't have a problem with you having a problem with it. I have a problem with you not being able to have a conversation with me. so that I can possibly give you more insight, or we could come to some understanding. So I think those are the things that hurt the most, and that's the stuff that kind of sits on me. I still move around with a positive attitude, but I'll be in the gym throwing the gym around, trying to process all this. Because even then, once I have to stand up for myself, I feel bad for how I may have made my family feel, even though they're the ones who, in a way, attacked me. So that's the space to navigate, but it is really tough. I'm hoping that we can continue it. I've definitely had, it's one way or another it's going to continue. I think I've had some people reach out to me that want me to interview their grandmothers, and I
Hmm.
think that'll be cool. But I want these for my records, for my kids' records and stuff. So I still want to interview my grandmother. My grandmother's like 86, man. We never know how much time we have left with our elders. So I'm hoping when she comes back, she's still open to doing it and still open to being open, because it doesn't work if she's not comfortable opening up.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a transition from giving full-fledged stories in the first episode to kind of just answering your question and waiting for you to ask another one in the
Right.
second one. I mean, I think one of the reasons that God allows for us to kind of give people grace even when we don't want to. I mean, like people like you and me, how like I was a yes man, how you kind of have explained that you are also in that realm to an extent. I think it's because we understand almost that other people don't understand.
Mm.
Like them saying that, right? If you go, well, there was no positive intention behind that other than to make grandma feel uncomfortable and to end something that could potentially start a revenue stream both for her and for me.
Mm-hmm.
They would go, well, no, that's not what my intention was. And you're going to go, well, those are the only two outcomes that came from it. So what was your intention? So we know that they don't know how what would happen if they said what they said, right? Like their intention wasn't, Grandma, you need to stop this. Lee, you need to take the shirts down, right? It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't even direct like that. It was like, well, we just said she didn't even have her teeth in or her hair done. We just meant she should get it done next time.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what grandma took it as. She took it as, well, this is going to be a lot and too much, and I can't just relax on my Sunday and talk to my grandson.
Right.
And I think that's how we've been wired to frame it, because if not, we would just be really mad all the time at
All the
people.
time. Yeah, man. All the time. And even that, the hair and stuff comment, I say, see, you all are saying that because you have been conditioned to this fake world. I want to interview my grandmother as my grandmother, because my grandmother didn't
Mm,
go around with makeup on, with hair in her. Grandmothers don't. Grandma look like grandma. I want to
yeah.
see, man. I tell you, when I tell you this is a pet peeve of mine. I hate how fake the world is getting. I truly hate it. Everything is fake. You can't believe anything you see. Instagram and everything else is the highlight reel for people's lives. I even had this conversation with this. This is a little sidetrack one time with an ex of mine. We were having a we used to have this book. We would write in the book anytime we were having something where it was a tough conversation that we knew it might be emotional. We would write it down in the book first, and we put the book on. If I see the book out, I'm like, "Oh, this is gonna be serious." Let me, clear my head, read it. Then we'd message each other back and forward in this book, almost like a diary, right? Until we got past the emotional state where we knew we could talk about it without any outbursts. I thought it was brilliant. Even if she was like, "Oh, you stupid! I can't believe you did this," then she'll take the black marker and cross that out because you got the emotion out, but you didn't have to convey it to me. One day she reads the book and she's like, I thought our relationship was great and this and that, but then I read the book and it turns out our relationship was horrible. I said, yeah, because you read from the bad book. I said, everything in life has the good book and the bad book. If we recorded every good thing in a relationship and you only read from that, you think the relationship was perfect. Social media is every good thing in most people's lives, right? And so you got people, the keeping up with the Joneses thing that people always used to say back in the day. It was one thing when the Joneses were like your neighbor and you're like, oh, they got a new car. I want to get a new car. But now the Joneses is on social media every day showing you every trip. And everybody thinks that we have to be on trips all the time. But what they're not showing you is the bills and the things that they had to cut. People are making it seem as though they're not going through everyday, day to day struggles and life struggles. And everybody is trying to be this perfect. I'm always on this trip. So I hate social media for these things. And that was a part of the reason of me doing Sundays with grandma. Even my initial thought on it, I wanted to do it in some nice house with a beautiful kitchen with an island and stuff like that. And I was like, I'm gonna rent an Airbnb. And I stopped to think to myself, I was like, no. I'm gonna do it in her little living room with her in her little wheelchair, like she is every day, because I want to give that authentic conversation and that authentic feel. And I think that's what we're missing in life is authenticity. Authenticity. I think that's what we're missing, and we're getting so caught up on these highlight reels. And I get it, you don't want to, bear all your what's really going on in your life to people, but we've gotten conditioned to looking great all the time and all of this. But dude, I need a haircut. My beard's not as oiled as it normally is. It's not I don't look like this every day. And that's what I wanted. Because to me, that's what a grandma is. Grandmas, they exist and they're there to give you advice, and they're going to keep it real with you, and it's going to come out raw, So that's what I wanted. So when they were like, oh, you don't even have your hair done, I'm like, maybe if it would have grown to that place and somebody invites us on a show or something like that, yeah, sure. But I wanted people to see my grandmother in the light that she's in when I go see her. And she's just like, hey, baby, come on in. That's what I wanted. That's what the world's missing. We're missing these moments for real. We're having all these fake pseudo connections, and we forget. Yes, grandma be walking around the house with a moo on. Yes. Anyways, yeah.
No, I really enjoy the authenticity portion of it, right?
Appreciate
Like
it.
I don't think that, things can be performative to an extent, but when it gets to the point where it's so performative that it's not even who you are or who grandma is, that's when it's like, what am I even doing here? Because the message and the intent was pure, and now
Right.
it's been distorted by, let's make sure grandma has a gold plated wheelchair, because if not, they're going to think that grandma lived in this tiny house. Grandma did live in this house. Like that is the reality of it.
Yeah.
And I think that, if you give a false sense of, if she's like, oh, we were really, really poor growing up, and it's like, Lee, you're in an Airbnb mansion with your grandma right now. Like, she says that it's a struggle day to day for whatever,
Hmm.
but you guys are in a mansion right now. They don't know that it's rented, right? And
Right.
that would have
Right.
been completely unauthentic.
Right.
And I'm backing 100% what you're doing with your grandma.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate it.
I have a decent relationship with one of my grandmas. My other one, not so much for, very family personal reasons.
Yeah, families can be complicated, man. I
Yeah.
know.
I mean, and that's another thing, right? Like when I was younger, I would just go, oh, well, I'll just no, no, not anymore. And some people have, different thoughts and different opinions. Some people in my family are like, she's your grandma. She won't be here one day. And I'm like, on a personal level, I don't know what happened. Well, I know what happened, but, I don't know what inside of me just made me kind of like, I dissociated the relationship to the person.
Right.
Who is the person?
Right.
Right? Is that a type of person that I want to have in my life? And I know that sounds cold, and it probably is.
No, man. I was having this conversation the other day. I don't go ahead. I was go
Yeah.
ahead.
No, I mean, it's just it feels cold, and I wish that it was different, but I know for the most part it's not going to be different. So
Right.
I've come to terms with it, and I've actually come to peace with it, that it's
Right.
like, okay, this is just what it is, and it's not something that I can sustain, nor do I want to expend so much energy on.
Joe, I'm gonna tell you like this. So we've been conditioned to feel like we have to deal with family, and me at my 39 years of life, what I've realized is, Joe, if I wasn't a good person, you wouldn't stay around me. We wouldn't still have communication, would we? So why? Because we share blood, or we share an uncle, or we share a mother, and you're my why do I have to? If you stab me every day you see me, I just have to accept that because you're my family member? No. Anybody that stabs you, you're like, I don't want to deal with you. You're stabbing me. Right?
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, but the world, society, and everything will make you feel like, oh, you can't give up. And again, a lesson I learned from my grandmother. My grandmother has a couple kids. One of my uncles was on drugs, and her being his mother, she's gonna do everything she can for him all the time, all the time. He come over the house, he steals something. Every time he's at the house, something happens. Steal a car, steal this. And at some point, she had to give it to God. And she's like, I love my son, but I'm going to have to let him go because he keeps hurting me. He keeps putting me in a worse position. I didn't put you on these drugs, son. I've done my due diligence and done my best to get you off of them, but you're still hurting me. And so now I have to let you go. When people are hurting us, if they want to keep giving us that poison, sometimes you got to cut that poison off, man. And like I said, society makes it seem as though it's cold, but you got to protect yourself. And even for me personally, there's people in my family I don't bring my kids around. I had to deal with that abuse. They don't. And they look at me like, oh, why you don't bring no? Because they don't have to grow up the way I did. I tell my mom certain things. I was like, hey, don't do that around my kids. They don't know, they're not of that world. They don't they don't even understand the jokes y'all have. I accepted this punishment because I thought I had to. But now that I'm older, I realize I don't have to expose them to that. Nah, man, you're not wrong, buddy.
Yeah, and it's your responsibility to protect them until,
Hmm.
I mean, we say 18, but until you decide that they've reached a level of maturity, like, hey, look, if you want to have this relationship with this person, there's a reason I, as your father, do not.
Hmm.
But if you want to pursue it, I'm here to help you and to protect you. But I just want you to know it's going to be a bumpy road if you try to pursue this relationship.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's, that's something that my dad instilled in me. He's like, look, if you want the relationship with these people, please feel free.
Yep.
He's like, but there's a reason that I don't have a relationship with these people, and you're my son. There's probably a good chance that you're going to get to a point where you're like, okay, I'm done, and
Yeah.
and and you're going to be out because of how I raised you. I raised you how I am. So like, you can give them that freedom. You don't want to have a control over them. You can give them the freedom, but until they are old enough to make their own decisions for themselves, and like, I don't care what anyone says, 13 is not old enough to make your own decisions to an
Nah.
extent. You can be
Nah.
easily convinced to buy stuff, to buy. 13-year-olds will drink a pixie stick if you give it to them, but I'm old enough to know that I shouldn't do that.
Right.
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 I just think that a lot of people, I don't know, they just think, I think that preserving your energy is something that isn't considered valuable in today's society to a wide extent.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you something, when I started personally preserving my own energy is when God blessed me in ways that I can't even tell you.
Mm.
And it wasn't that I wasn't doing nice things. Like there were
Right.
nice things that I was doing, and I was, I would do a daily run. After that, I would go to Dunkin' and I would prepay for people's iced coffees. And then I would walk out and I would leave. But that was something that I chose to do. I chose to do that. I chose to help people. And I think there's a power in you choosing to help people
Mm.
versus people requiring you to help them.
Right.
When they
Right.
require you to help them or they guilt trip you into helping them, that's what I'm like, okay, you're draining because you're not even like, hey, I know you're busy. I know you
Hmm.
have a life too. Next Saturday, I'm moving. I don't have money. I can cook you something. Is there any way you can help me?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a lot. I mean, then you can choose, right? But like when you get that, well, you got to do this because remember when I did that, or hey, do you remember when? And it's like now you just ruined that nice thing that you did for me.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Because now I'm like, why'd you do it? You did it to have a coin now to cash in whenever you felt like it. That's why you did that. I thought we were on a different level than that. And I mean, just hearing your story, there's been a lot that you've been through. Aside from, just having that ability to just wake up every day and just be happy, what has been one main thing that you have focused on in order to continuously keep moving forward?
I think early on, I would just keep. I think it was like career wise. I was focused on getting promoted at Walmart and stuff like that. But after I had my kids, I think that was the other thing. It's like I don't have time to get caught up in this other stuff. I'm sad on days. I'm trying to figure things out, but I just have to keep going. I have to. So, and even now, it's the self belief in myself, but at the same time, it's a daily struggle, man. I can't act like I'm winning this battle every day. Every night I go to sleep, man. I'm like I'm not where I'm supposed to be. I'm like, oh man, in ways I feel like a failure, but then you just have to overcome those thoughts. It's a constant battle of me fighting my own thoughts in my head and just trying to get up and put my best foot forward every day. Because, like I said, there's no blueprint to this. There's no blueprint. So I'm just trying to do the best thing and put myself in the best positions. And I pray a lot. And then I try to surround myself with good people and people who are doing things, yourself included. And like you said, even earlier, once you start standing up for yourself and saying no, your circle gets smaller. But somebody said something one day. I can't remember. I think it was a pastor or something. Like sometimes you have to let go of people and things to make space for the things that God wants to give you. Like you have too much stuff in your hand. I'm trying to give you this thing, but you're holding on to too much stuff. Relationships, whatever it may be. You're holding on to so much. I know you can't have this thing that I want to give you because you're still holding on and all that. So, but I'm like, no, if I let go of this, I won't have this. but you let go of that so I can give you this. But it's the level, it's the uncertainty sometimes, man. Like I said, I try to read certain books. I try to read self-help books to keep my mind, because there's so many things in these books that I'm like, dang, you listen to certain stories. I like books that have stories and stuff. Like, have you ever heard the story of the guy who started Chick-fil-A?
No, not in depth.
I'm gonna give you a quick rundown. I can't remember exactly what book it was in. I'm looking at. I don't know if it was Atomic Habits, or maybe it was in Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. But I'm gonna give you a quick rundown. Long story short, it was this guy and a couple of his brothers or something like that. I think a guy and two brothers. He started. They were starting a restaurant or something like that. Had chicken sandwich and all this. The restaurant was good. He got the first one off the ground. He was trying to get the second one off the ground. Barely had enough insurance for it. That one burned down. So he had to close that one down. He was dealing with that. As that one burned down and he was trying to get back on his feet, he got some terrible issue with his stomach. So he was out of work for like months at a time or something like that. No, after that one burnt down, his brothers died. His brothers died in a plane crash or something crazy like that. So he's trying to get over his brothers dying and all of this, and trying to still figure out how to push forward with the business. So he's trying to push forward with the business. As he's trying to push forward and getting himself back out of debt after the first restaurant or whatever burnt down, he got real sick, had some stomach issue, thought it was only going to be a couple weeks in the hospital. Turned out being months in the hospital. He's fighting through this in the hospital, still trying to figure out how to get the business off the ground. But while he was in the hospital is when he came up, because they had a delicious chicken meal or something that he had. He was like, why don't we take this chicken, fry it up a certain way, add all the perfect ingredients on it, and we make the sandwich? And that is where Chick-fil-A started at. But the moral to that is, imagine continuing to fight for something throughout all of these hardships. My building burnt down. My brothers died. I got ill. I was on my deathbed in the hospital. And a lot of times, it's literally that story that I think about. It'll bring me to tears, bro. That's the story I think about when I'm fighting through some of this stuff sometimes, bro. Because I want to give up daily, Joe. It's so hard, bro. But I think about these stories about the people who reach success after all these terrible things, and they just had to keep pushing through. And that's what I think about, because it's like, man, I never seen myself doing a regular job, Joe, for long. I never seen it. Oh, that's not me. I'm like, can I do it? Yeah, I can be a manager. I don't want to be a manager. Even school was tough for me. But it's like I think about these stories, Joe, and it's stuff like that where if I didn't read it, I probably would have gave up a long time ago. There's other stories too that I have, but that was one of the ones like, could I have kept going? There's a story about how Southwest came about, bro. It was a group of lawyers or something like that. They put their money together. They created the airline, but all the other airlines didn't like them. So they went to the boards and be like, no, we don't want him. He was trying to make all the smaller routes. Before Southwest came about, bro, we didn't have all these routes all over the place. It was only major cities. So he had to fight a legal battle. He went into debt. 10 years later, 10 years of fighting, and Southwest got off the ground. Like, really, it's like, man, could I fight for 10 years? Do I believe in this thing that long enough to literally fight other people who are trying to bring me down for 10 years, losing money, losing friends? So it's those stories, man, when I really get down and out, it's those stories that keep me going, bro. It's that. And it's like, that's why I think it's important to, be around other people, read literature and different things, man.
Absolutely. It's nice to get it from history, right? It's nice to get it from things like that. But I have a direct story that I'm very, very grateful that my dad is who he is.
Mm-hmm.
He was a financial advisor with unnamed company for a while. He left that company because of some of the issues that were going on with upper management. Someone tried to get him fined. Someone on his own team. Like, that doesn't even click to me.
Right.
Someone on your own team trying to get you fined, trying to get you, like, they have a FINRA you for trying to like mark him, get him marks and stuff like that, where people could check and, oh, there's all these complaints against him. And then also there's another guy that said that he couldn't take on as many clients as he was taking on. And my dad's like, he's like, you need to distribute these to me or another broke. My dad's like, I'm not giving you my clients. What are you talking about? So just multiple things. So he left. He's like, I'm going to do this on my own. I don't need, this is just headache because I've gotten all these clients myself. What do I need management for? I'm doing this on my own.
Right.
So he left. And when he left, they tried to sue him because they were like, well, you're taking all your clients with you. He said, I didn't contact a single client. I didn't contact anyone. They're like, well, why are all your clients going to you? They're like, because they showed up and they said, where's my financial advisor? And you guys said, he left, but we have someone for you. And they walked out the door. They left. And they called because they have my cell phone number. They called me and they said, "Hey, I don't want to speak to anything because I don't know the legal thing, but I think like for 2 years they couldn't be his client or whatever." But they
Yeah.
tried to sue him for it, and he was tied up in court for years. Didn't make any money his first 2 years as an independent financial advisor. Luckily, he had enough money saved up and he got us through it. But now he's making, I don't know, double what he was making there, working for himself, working by himself. He was in in court for like almost a year
Yeah.
fighting that. And that's not something that, truly I didn't really think about that until we brought up all these things about fighting through stuff. And, it makes me very proud of him.
It's the path less traveled, man.
Yeah.
It's easier to follow in the trail that everyone else has blazed, but that other thing, there's so much uncertainty on that other side, man. And like I said, I tell people every day, I joke about it, I call it leaning on faith. You know what I'm saying? I still, even here in the next couple of weeks, I might have to pick up another regular job again for a little while. To me, it might feel like a little step backwards, but I'm like, okay, but things are happening, it's percolating. But I call it leaning on faith. And you hear people who, it's a lot of times it's hard when you hear people, oh, they talk about it, but they're successful. Oh yeah, you got to lean on faith, but you've made it. You got through the other side. But I'm like, I tell people, I'm like, yo, I'm letting you know to lean on faith, even though I'm in the fire still. I'm behind on my car payment right now. They calling me every day. I'm like, look, I got a gig Saturday. I'm gonna pay y'all after Saturday. You know what I'm saying? That's literally what I'm doing. I'm chasing these gigs, but I believe in it. But it's like, certain things I'm like, all right, I might have to solidify some things. But I'm telling people, I'm like, man, I would tell anybody still. I'm like, you gotta, because I can see the other side. I can see it. It's in the distance. I still don't know. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, man, when I get over that, once I get over that, oh, it's gonna be beautiful. That's your dad, man. He chose the path less traveled. But again, hearing that 2 years, you know how easy it's got to be to give up. And then you're like, man, forget it. I don't want to do. I'll just go do this. That's dedication and that's believing in yourself right there, man. So
Yeah.
kudos to.
Or I'll just go back. I'll just go. They'll take me. I was one of the top people at their company. They'll take me back.
Yep.
I just gotta forfeit the lawsuit. Say, hey, I'm wrong. I'm coming back. They'll drop the lawsuit. He said no. He's like, I'm not. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm not accepting this.
Yeah.
I'm going to work for myself. And you're mad. You're mad. I'm going to work for myself.
Yep.
But I'm going to do it anyway. And just to keep pushing through that. I mean, it's nice to have I'm blessed to have a real life example,
bro. Because think about this. He pushed through that. It's one thing I tell people all the time. If I was just a single guy and no kids, I mean, I'm single, but it's easy to make bad decisions when you alone. That's easy. When you make bad decisions that affect others, oh man, so to do that knowing you got a family, but you still stood strong. Every time he see your face, he's like, I gotta, take care of this son. I gotta do this. I gotta do this. And standing strong in that, man, it's another level, bro. It's another level, man. So yeah, kudos to that.
Yeah, 100%. You had to throw it out there. Like, I'm single, by the way, but
No, you never know who's watching, Joe. I don't want to miss my blessings.
Yeah, there's a song by Chance the Rapper called 5 Year Plan, and in the song he has a line, and he says, "If you followed your flight plan, you'd be right here praying." So like, so even if you're right now, you're like, God, like, what do I do? Like, what's the next step for me? If you followed everything that he set out for you, you would still be there asking him that question.
Mm.
And he knew that. But he still has stuff in the future for you. But he knew that you'd be right here praying.
Mm-hmm.
If he gave you, hey, Lee, here's the roadmap, right? Because we come to this life with no roadmap.
No roadmap, bro.
Lee, here's the roadmap. And when you're 36 years old, you're going to be in your room and you're going to not know what's going on. And you're going to say, God, please help me. I like to think he goes over this with us before we come down here. Like, hey, this is what's going to happen. You're just going to forget.
Right.
But here you go. Do you want this life? And we go, yeah, no, that sounds good. That sounds great, actually. Yeah, I'll take that life. And he goes, okay, you're going to forget, though. So just trust me that I'm putting you in this life, and this life's going to be good.
Right.
But just, the more faith you have, the better it's going to be, because then you're not going to freak out all the time. But just trust me, all right?
Right.
And then he's like, you're like, okay. And he's like, all right, done. And then you're born. And then you forget.
You forget.
So like, God, what's happening? He's like, I told you you're going to do that. All right.
I like that. I like that, yo. There's a movie script in there somewhere, man.
Dude, I mean, Disney may have already done. I mean, you ever seen the movie Soul?
Yeah, 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 yeah. No,
Dude,
look,
that
look,
movie is insane.
dude. I just thought of a title: "The Forgetful Angel." What if you had a freaking guardian angel that forgot that he was your guardian angel? So there, you always have these near misses because your guardian angel's like, "Well, I'm supposed to be doing something." Yo, that's how my mind works, yo. I don't know.
It's just like me, and he like goes like, "Don't jump off that cliff," but he goes to grab me, and I just fall to the side instead.
It's funny, man.
I mean, how has faith played a role in your life?
Dude, so I mean, I've struggled with faith, and I'll tell you multiple. I'll tell you. So I come from a family. My grandmother, it bothers me because everybody used to be like, "Oh, baby, just pray, baby, just pray," and I'd be looking around my family. I was like, "Well, everybody in this family is messed up, Grandma. You say you be praying, how is praying helping? You know?" So, and then I never had anything tangible. They would always tell me to read the Bible, but I'm like, I'm one that you got to give me stuff. You got to tell me to do something too. You know what I'm saying? So for the longest, early on, I didn't have it, bro. I didn't have it. It wasn't until the last couple of years, literally last year, probably, that when I would sit back and I would look at my life, I was like, yo, I've been protected one way or another. It wasn't what I wanted, but I'm like, man, I've always made it. And last year specifically, 2023, everything that led up to me quitting my job recently was what gave me the ability to quit my job, but I had to see how everything laid out. So that's why I'm like, yo, I'm stepping out on faith. 2023. Number one, I was thinking about buying a BMW. I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna get this BMW. I was saving up for this BMW. It was a 6 Series. I was like, yeah, I'm finna get it. Stuff got in the way. I couldn't get the car. I was devastated. I was so mad. I was like, man, Then I was like, I changed my goals. I was like, man, I'm gonna get my camera then. Then I'll get more work, and then the camera will pay for the BMW. Yeah. A few months after that is when the comedian was like, hey, I can't afford you anymore. I was like, bro, if I'd have got that car and he'd have let me go, I'd have been up shit's creek. So okay, right after that, then that's when I was like, all right, I'm gonna try to just do this little stuff for now. Then that's when I started working for Crunch, and then that's when I got the other job painting, and I was making really good money doing that job painting. I was like, great, okay, everything's looking up. Everything's looking up. I got fired from that job from something so crazy. It's absurd. I was a traveling painter and they fired me. I had to find out. I had to dig it up because nobody was giving me answers. Long story short, their workman's comp dropped me because you had to be covered by workman's comp. And it was they dropped me because they looked me up or in the system. Me and my father had the same exact name. They found he has an open workman's comp case. They thought it was me. Nobody would do another investigation. They just let me go. But in that time frame that I got let go, I survived off my videography and photography. It was real close, thin margin of error, but I was getting money, just enough to pay the things I needed to pay. But I was like, I gotta find another job. I gotta find another job. Found another job. I was like, whoo, got this other job. Got that job. And then I got the other job, and I was like, oh, but I hated the job. But I went to think back to the two times in life that I got fired, and I was like, I've always been okay. I never, for whatever reason, unemployment never worked for me. Never. For whatever reason, there was always an issue with my unemployment. I'd get another job before it kicks in. So I never got unemployment. I made the money. So it was those situations that I was like, yeah, that was the roadmap. And that's what made me be like, well, I can quit. I'll figure it out. And then I was like, worst come to worst, I can find another job. But it's that gave me the faith. And I mean, you struggle when the closer you get to zero is when you struggle. But another thing I learned, that's the piece that gave me the faith. But then the more I was around entrepreneurs, see, we're so conditioned to be in this world of, oh, let me just get my regular check weekly. Entrepreneurs are like, yeah, that's where it is. Some months you're great. Some months you're way better than great. And some months you're like, yo, we eat noodles this month. And that's the norm. Once you realize that's see, we're conditioned now, I gotta have this little check. Once he told me that, I didn't feel as crazy anymore. You feel crazy going out on the limb and like, yeah, I ain't got no money. I gotta sit still, bro. I gotta stay. But when I got around another entrepreneur, I'm actually going to shoot a video for him tomorrow. And he told me that him and his wife, he's like, yeah, that's what it is. It's like, yeah, babe, we can't do X, Y, Z this month. It made me feel better. I was like, okay, I'm not crazy. But it's those interactions, it's those pieces that when I look back on my life, I was like, I've been covered by somebody. So I should have faith. Again, it's one of those things you got to fight those negative thoughts every day, man, every day. But it's like I return back to it. So, and I'm like, hey, man, what's the worst gonna happen? I end up homeless. I don't know. I'll figure something out. I'll start an OnlyFans, Joe. I'll start a foot OnlyFans. Yeah, who want to see these knuckles on my?
Dude, I mean, I first off, I don't think that you're gonna be homeless at all. But one thing that, stemming off that kind of not the OnlyFans comment, but what you were saying beforehand was that it's all ups and downs. There's seasons of wealth and abundance, and then there's also seasons of all right, we're struggling a little bit this month. But I think what drives me toward entrepreneurship is it's all dependent on you.
Yeah.
And truly, like, yeah, I've had people in my life that have helped me, right? But once I started to mainly rely on me is when my life actually changed.
Mm,
So I know that there's power in relying on me and relying on my work ethic and relying on my ability to move forward.
right.
And there's certain jobs that I've had that just pay you hourly and just pay you, salary. I've been in the corporate world already, and there is no incentive for you to do a good job.
At all.
Zero incentive
My
for you to
pay's
do a
not
good
gonna
job.
change.
Dude,
Nothing.
there's some people that I'm sitting there and I'm like, they just need a placeholder here, huh?
Yep.
And you're a placeholder.
And you gonna
That's
pay
what
him
you're
the same
doing.
as me.
And you're gonna pay them more than me. That's when I'm like, I'm getting out of here. I'm getting out of here
Yeah.
now.
Yep.
Because entrepreneurship, you could go into sales, your first month, you could make 10 grand. And no one can tell you that you didn't make your 10 grand. We have this thing where you can only be a certain level after you've been here for a certain amount of time. That's crazy because I know more than all the people that are 3 levels above me.
Right.
Not literally 3 levels above me, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
There's whatever, right? That's crazy. Someone's been here for 12 years and they're at my level, but they're getting paid more than me because they've been here for 12 years.
12
That doesn't
years.
make any sense to me. If anything, they should be getting less because it's like clearly that's someone that doesn't work well at all. And I mean, that's my business cold, no empathetic mindset, right? That's not how I am as a person. From a business perspective, right? They want to talk about business perspective all the time, but from my business perspective, why would you be paying someone more money, someone that clearly doesn't want to progress at all in the company, but you're going to pay them more for no reason just because
Exactly.
they're here and because they want to stay here? That doesn't fly with me. That's not how my mind works. So that's when I was like, okay, I should definitely not be here. I'll be here for now. I'll get that steady income, but this is not where I need to be. And then they put me on night shift, and I was like, okay, this is really not where I need to be. I'm getting out of here now.
Yeah, that night shift is 98% of the reason I quit. I was like, no.
I mean, at first I wanted to give it a try, right? But then I was like, I'm working to live now. Why am I working to live? No, 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 no. Oh no, I'm living to work.
Work.
Sorry,
Exactly.
I'm living to work.
Because 2 days
I'm
off
not.
when you work a night shift is absurd. I used to work at Walmart on the night shift. They gave you like 3 days off. Okay,
I got 3 days off as well.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah. I was working at this last place, BJ's. I had 2 days off. The first day don't count because you got off at 7 that morning. You want to go to sleep. You want to sleep all the way until about 5 o'clock, but to about 2 o'clock. But then your day's gone. So it's
yeah.
like, and then so you have the one day to do all the stuff you need to do, relax, wash, eat, hang out, whatever in one day. No, man, that's not gonna fly. No, and then come right back to a bunch of crap. No.
And when you got all of your energy and you're ready to do stuff, everything's closed.
Yep.
And you can't even do it. You're like, oh, well, all of my friends with normal jobs are asleep and
Right.
I'm wide awake right now. My girl wants to go to bed. I'm ready to watch 3 movies.
Right.
Like,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah, bro. It does not work for me. I knew a couple who they loved it. They loved it. But they were both on nights together. I was like, I don't see how y'all do it. I can't do it. I'm literally more emotional at night. I feel alone. It's weird, bro. I knew this going into that job because I did it at Walmart. I'm like, bro, I got to be careful. I have to do so many things to keep my mind at bay when I work nights because yeah, it ain't for me.
yeah. And then, like, the production level too is so much lower that you're just like, are we even,
Yep.
we're not even doing anything.
I can get a full day rest. Go to work at night. If I sit down for 10 minutes, I'm out.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I mean, I was doing this thing where I was just doing like half shifts for the most part. Like I was staying full days some days. Like my last day of the week, I would stay the full day because then I could recover for the
Right.
whole rest of the next day. But
Right.
like in between, I mean, man, it was a personal decision. It wasn't something that I really wanted to do. You know, I liked it, but I didn't like it enough to sacrifice my entire life for it,
You're right.
for sure.
Yeah.
Finances are different. I like finances. That
That's
I
good.
would, if someone calls me on a Saturday when I'm not doing anything and they're like, "Hey, I need help with it." Yeah, no
Yeah,
problem.
bro. Anytime you're doing something that you want to do, there's somebody that wanted me to do videography at night on some shit. I probably wouldn't mind.
Yeah,
Like I'm like, yeah, I'll do this. I probably could do it for a long time. I mean, I still want when you work nights. I still don't think you shouldn't get any less than 3 days, 3 nights off. That's just the way I feel.
yeah. There
So
should be 3 teams,
yeah,
3 nights, 3 nights. Yeah,
yeah. So
or however they gotta chop it up.
especially if you're doing an actual full overnight shift, now that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, dude, just as a business owner, IG Lee, just having videography, but mostly, photography and also like hosting. Like, how do you keep that engagement? Like, I know we kind of talked about it earlier, but like, how do you plan on keeping that level of connection and engagement? I guess in person, but also like on the internet with your content as well.
Bro, it's so hard. Like, cause my up and down days, everything I post is through energy. I can't
Yeah,
create. I can't create when I'm down, when I'm low energy. The best thing, only thing that come out of it is if I'm emotional, I'm gonna make some emotional music. You've seen the
yeah.
videos before, but it's
I saw the recent one.
yeah, yeah. I mean, look, I try to protect the people around me, but sometimes it comes out. Um,
Yeah.
but it's hard. But basically, the best some of the stuff I try to do, I try to have some content that's already in the hole that I can just post to keep that engagement. Because some days, some weeks, I want to disappear, bro. I can't be this guy all the time, and I'm like, but I everybody doesn't deserve to see where I am in those vulnerable states. So there's some times that I have to pull back from social media to take care of myself. But for the most part, I'm usually good. But the things that I do to just stay connected, man, is I'm always on the go. When I'm out and about, I'm good. Even if I'm bothered. But the gym is really what keeps me level headed, bro. I'll go to the gym. I'll go to the gym. I'll cry. I'll throw some weight around, bro. I'll get a good workout. The gym gives me creativity. The gym helps me manage my emotions, and I get it out. If I don't, the gym is literally the thing that keeps me balanced. Sure, do I want to get nice physique? Yeah, I don't eat well enough to look like I really want to look yet, bro. But you know what I'm saying? Do I look decent? Cool. But that gym be this, bro. It's really that's where I go to get it off at. And because if I go too long without going to that gym, it really throws me off balance. So yeah, that's one of the major things that helps me continue to be able to be the IG Lee. Cause you got IG Lee and you got Lee T Hart. Lee T Hart is down. IG Lee is always on. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to give that energy to IG Lee all the time, man. Especially with a lot of things going on. Even with my kids, sometimes I got some stuff going on. So the gym, the faith, and just being around good people, bro. Like, you have to have good people in your life. I read this girl's book. I just interviewed this girl for my a segment of my YouTube that I'm going to do. In her book, she calls it "Who's in Your First Aid Kit."
Mm.
You have a first aid kit in your house, right? You got band-aids, you got Neosporin or whatever. You wrap your stuff up. You should have a first aid kit of people in your life, and they should know that they're part of your first aid kit. Joe, you're my band-aid, bro. Sometimes I might hit you up and I'm like, yo, Joe, I need you to patch me up, dog. You're my first aid kit. This is what's going on today. I thought that was so profound. I was like, man, that's amazing. I can't wait to drop that clip because I was like, that's so. I think we don't think about that enough. And the key part of that is people knowing that they're in your first aid kit. That you should take honor in
Yeah.
that. Joe, you're my band-aid, bro. I just
Yeah.
need you to know. Sometimes I might lean on you for that.
So, I mean, I have a question specifically about like, if you call someone the band-aid, right? Like, are they someone that, hey, I got all this stuff going on. Now I need advice to stop the bleeding. Like, is that how you view the band-aid? Or you're just saying like people in general that are in there, you just kind of give them like,
It's gonna be different for everybody. Say you're my band-aid, bro. I might need, your girl's a band-aid in a certain way. I might need to just vent. I might need you to just be like, give me that Joe stuff that you do, bro. Lee, man, you're a great dude, bro. This and that. Don't let this get you down. That might just be what I need. It's gonna vary on the person, whoever you are, whoever the person is to me. I got a homeboy. He's gonna give me the real all the time. He's known me for 20 years. So he sometimes I'll talk to him and he's like, "You're not hearing what you're saying, but this is what you're saying. So this is what you need. That's what I need from him." So it's gonna vary. And some people, like you say, some people I might just need advice. So depending on what that is, what that looks like for you, and what you know of that person, the friend I've been friends with for 20 years, I know I can go to him and I can tell him a situation, and he can tell me right off the bat. He's like, I can talk to him about a woman. I'm digging this woman, da 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 da. He's gonna give it to me for real. He's like, you know what? She's finna get you off track. You finna go over there. You're gonna be doing all this. We joke and laugh about it, but it's because he knows me. You know what I'm saying? So every relationship, every person in that first aid kit will be different, but it's going to be how Joe needs that person, how Lee needs that person. So, and that's for you to figure out that relationship. Because yeah, sometimes it might just be you need somebody to vent to. Sometimes it might just be you need somebody who's going to give you that real tough conversation. And sometimes like my grandmama, I'll call her in the heartbeat. Grandma, I need you to pray for me. I just need to hear that prayer from you. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I need from grandma. That prayer from grandma is gonna give me what I need to get back on my feet for the day.
That's something I never really thought about it in that perspective of kind of giving people different roles.
Mm-hmm.
There's one person that I've talked, and I've actually my past like 3 episodes I've like talked about him, Simon Sinek. He says that like there was one friend and he was like, hey, like just so you know, like you're someone that if like shit was hitting the fan, like I'd call you, like I want you to know that. And his friend was like, I'd be mad if you didn't. Like you don't understand, like I'm your friend for a reason. Like when stuff goes bad, like I'm truly your friend. I want you to call me when stuff goes bad. I want you to call me when you need someone to talk to. I want you to call me when I need you need some kind of advice, because if not, we're just buddies that hang out and watch the football game. We're
Yeah.
not friends. And I
Yep.
feel like that's a very important aspect of it, because then as a person on the other side of it, you truly feel like that person's friend.
Yeah.
And if not, you're like, am I even important to this person if they never asked me for help or never kind of came to me with any concerns at all?
Yeah.
Because you need to be able to do both. You need to be able to celebrate, and you also need to be able to be there when stuff's not that great
Right.
either.
Right.
Looking ahead for you, Lee, you have so many different talents, right? Videography, hosting, comedian, podcasting, photography. Is there anything that you see in your future that you can incorporate all or a number of these skills in order to make something unique and make a career out of it?
Bro, ironically enough, I want a show. I want a show like my whole YouTube channel right now. I've kind of revamped it. Everything was about being funny at first. I'm still going to be funny, but my whole YouTube channel is like conversations that matter. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of stuff going on in the internet and everything. I definitely want to show. I love interviewing people. I love talking to people. But like even this right here, yeah, it's an interview, but we've had some really deep stuff. I like conversations that matter, and I think if I in a show, I think I could utilize all these facets of myself in a show. Whether it's like me doing a performance, somebody else doing a performance at the end or something like that, joking, kidding, having real conversations, videography or whatever, talking to kids, whatever it might be. I think if I had a show, and I know everybody be on this podcast thing, but I'm like, I want a show type of thing. They got these dating shows, the pop the balloon, that's cute, that's cool. But I'm like, I want something where we have real conversations about real things, and then we can have fun, and then we can joke, and we can do all of this. Because I see all this stuff, everything in my life, like me and my buddies, we used to we'll ride in the car and we'll just bust out in a freestyle. I love that. I think that's just so great, so fun. I think that would be amazing on the show. Like even I think I used to do my podcast with my friends, the day ones, and we would just rap. I think it's something about just sharing all of that information, and then I think that's what I could utilize all of these pieces in is some type of show like that. That's what I foresee. If I had my way in the future, that's what I would like to do.
Okay. So, I mean, I'm definitely curious about like, and it's just from my lack of understanding, right? Like, everyone always like has a vision, right?
Hmm.
And in their vision, it makes sense. Sometimes there's just like pieces that need to come out. But like, so you're going to have like a rapping portion of it, and then like a real conversation portion of it, and then like a performance portion of it as well.
If you think wilding out, right?
That's exactly what I was thinking of, but I don't know where the real conversation comes in.
The real that's what I'm saying. The real conversation is the main portion of it, right?
Okay.
We're sitting here chilling. We're having real conversations. Maybe it's five guys around the table having a real conversation, and then we randomly end up rapping because that might be what it is, or we randomly end up cracking jokes because that's in the black community and in my family, y'all could be having a real conversation and just start cracking on each other out of nowhere, right? That's where even with wilding out, that's where it comes from. Or maybe the conversation got too deep for a second, and then you know how you get to those points where somebody really said something, and y'all just got paused and sit on that. And then you're like, all right, man. Well, let's do this right here to break up some of this tension. Maybe it's something that got tight because I want to have conversations about child support. I want to have a round table conversation with men, with women that's on child support, men that's on child, and have it in such a way where we can hear people each other out, because it get emotional when you start talking about stuff like that, right? But in certain situations, if it get too heated, you might need a break. All right, we're gonna take a break. Hey man, let's hear so and so bust this
Okay.
or around the table. I'm gonna make you rap now. I don't feel like, because we so mad, something to break up. So that's where I see those pieces. They might not all fit all the time. You see what I'm saying?
So not like a podcast,
Yeah.
but you want to have like not like an interview portion podcast, but you want to have like 5, 6 people like
Yeah.
sitting around a table, and it's like, oh, like, what do you think about this? What do you think? And then when it gets to a point, you're like some random like, all right, everyone, I'm not good at this, right? You'd be good at this. But like, everyone name your favorite ice cream. And
Right.
like some lady's like, nah, he just said my kids don't matter. Like, I don't want to name an ice cream right now. And you're like, that sucks. I like Rocky Road. What do you
Right.
like?
So yeah, something along that line, man. So it's something to keep it light, but at the same time where we can have these real conversations. Because I think, to me, in general, that's what's missing in the world, man. Understanding each other. Everybody's trying to force their view on people, on each other. I don't want to force my view. I just want to understand where yours come from. Even with this political climate that we're in a lot of times. I don't have to agree with you, but I do. I be wanting to understand where people come from. I was like, well, why you see it that way? My friend Cece, he taught me to, ask more questions than anything. We typically don't ask questions. We're trying to push stuff on to people. I'm like, oh, I think so and so is great. Well, why do you believe that? Okay, well, what about, so in my conversation, that's where I see things going. However that really looks, I don't know. But
Yeah.
I think the question was, how do I see something where I could utilize all these talents? That's where I would see it.
So that actually happened to me recently. I had to like take a step back, and I had bought something, and someone was like, "Oh, well, you got to make sure you're going to use it." And I took it personally, and I was like, "Of course I'm going to use it. Why would I buy it if I wasn't going
To
to
use
use
it,
it?"
right?
And like I like said like, "Okay, like hey, like why did you say like just make sure you're gonna use it? Like what's up with that?" And they're
Yeah,
like, "Some of the reviews aren't great. I just want to make sure you like went through the reviews because that company doesn't allow for returns." And I was like, "Okay." But like at first, I thought they were coming at me like,
yeah,
You're
yeah.
not going to use that. I know you, and like I took offense to it. So it was like a training program,
Right.
and I
Yeah.
like took offense to it, and I was like, let me not just get mad at this
Yeah.
person. Let me just ask them, hey, why'd you say that? Oh, that company doesn't allow for refunds. So I was just making sure you got the one that you researched it and you got the one that you wanted.
Asking questions, man, go a long way, bro. I'm big on that, because I'll take offense to some stuff, and I'm like, why'd you say that? And then I'm weird because I noticed too many things. I'm like, you see how they said that? That means something.
Yeah. And it's like you're almost like you're overthinking. You're
Yeah.
like, nah, did you see how they just said that? And they're like, my bad. A fly just flew in my eye. And you're like, oh, I thought you were like winking at me when you said that. Like what?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
I mean, that's why it's important for us to regulate us,
Yeah.
right? And I mean, have you ever had something in your life, right, where you've heard someone say it like over and over and over and over again, but it's never clicked with you, and you're like, you're just saying things, you're
Yeah.
just saying words, they don't mean anything to me. But then you hit a point in your life where you're like, now that I have understood the connection between those words, that those sounds that you're making, and I've seen it with my own eyes, now I understand what you
Yeah.
mean.
Yep.
Has that ever happened to you? And like, give me an example if you got one off the top of your head.
All the time. This one ain't nothing too serious. It's just, this one's actually something kind of funny, but this is one of the ones that stand. It's funny because it just didn't click as a child, and then it clicked as an adult. I think I told my grandfather one time. I was like, "Granddad, you're old," and I never forget. He got real close to my face. He's like, "You just keep waking up," and I'm so one day, like literally last week, I woke up. I was like, if you just keep waking up, you get old. Oh my God.
Mm,
It never stood out to me. That's nothing deep or nothing, right? But you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
That's the one that comes that's at the top of my head now, because that just happened to me. I woke up. I was like, oh, I'm 39. And I was like, and my granddaddy popped in my head, you just keep waking up and see what happened. I was like, oh my God.
I mean, mine was just pray about it.
Mm.
That was huge for me because like I'd be like, oh well, just give it to God, just pray about it.
You sure you
And
ain't
I'm like,
black? Come from a black family?
no, no. Oh, I mean, I don't know. I have no idea. I've never done the 23 and Me, but like, no, not for the most part, no. they're like, just keep praying about it is all I kept hearing. And I was so like, what is that? Like, you people just keep saying like, just pray, just have faith in God. Why is Jesus our Savior? Well, because he died for us. And I'm like, what does that mean? Like, in my brain, I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And then I had to find out for myself. It's like, dude, if you had a best friend that you wronged and betrayed over and over again, and they still said, and then someone said, okay, either Joe's gonna die or you're gonna die, and your friend goes, nah, kill me, it's cool. Like, would you spend the rest of your life still doing everything that your friend asked you not to do?
Yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah.
would you be like, no, let me honor my friend in the best way possible?
That's a good analogy right there, bro. That's a good breakdown.
Yeah, because that's what he now take it, that's your friend, right?
Yeah.
I've never met him physically. Spiritually, I have. I've never met him physically. So to me, I don't want to say he's a stranger, right? Because he's not. Because I do have a relationship with him. But imagine it's someone that you have never met physically.
Right.
And it's like someone comes up to you in the street. You're like walking. You're like going to Starbucks or something. And they're like, hey, Lee, by the way, we were going to kill you today. But someone else decided that we can take their life instead of yours. His name's Jesus. I hope you have a great day. And they just walk away. And you're like, I could be dead right now, but I'm not, because some guy gave his life for me.
Right.
Those were the types of things and the type of thinking and the logical reasoning that I needed in order to truly understand what that meant.
Right.
Same thing with prayer. It's like, sit down, meditate on what you want, think about it, ask God for it, bring that divine energy into it, and then go out and walk in faith. Act like God has already prepared that for you.
Yep.
Have that confidence, and then it'll come true. Those are just two things for me.
Hey,
a little bit more deep than
Joe speaks.
keep waking up. But I mean, that's just wait till you get here is one that I've heard.
Just
wait till you get here. You're like, hey, you can't even get out of bed. Oh, just wait.
Right.
Just wait till you get here.
Yeah,
It's like, okay, all right.
How about giving me some advice to not be there?
Yeah, yeah. How about that?
What were you doing wrong?
It's inevitable. You're just gonna not be able to get up.
My dad is sick and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, Dad, I'm sorry. He's like, boy, you don't know. You'll see when you get up. I'm like, Dad, I live a pretty healthy life. I've never drank alcohol to excess like you. So don't try to put that shit on me.
Yeah, it's like, how about let's try to avoid those.
Right.
Let's try to avoid the need for multiple medications.
Right.
Let's try to avoid the need for constant substance. Some people don't want me to say abuse, substance use. Being like, well, no, I need to have my drink or two a day, else I go.
Bro, listen, I abuse Little Debbie brownies. See, this is what I had to point out. See, we will think a lot of times we think, oh, because I don't do drugs, I don't do this. Little Debbie's is my fucking drug. Excuse me, sorry. Dude, Little Debbie's are my drug. Like, if I'm depressed, Little Debbie's. If I'm sad, Little Debbie's. And so we'll demonize something different because, oh, you drank alcohol. Well, dude, me going through a box of Little Debbie's in a day is probably not good neither. It is probably some type of an addiction. So
yeah, I can't believe they do this or they do that. I can't believe, and it's like, yeah, but you do this and that. And there's one show I watch. It's oh my gosh, Midnight Gospel. Have you ever seen that?
No.
It's with Duncan Trussell, and it's kind of like an animated podcast where it's not him, it's this character named Clancy, and he goes through the universe, and he's like, or multi-universe, and he's interviewing random people from the multiverse, but it's like real people, right?
Okay.
Like one's like a therapist, one's his meditation teacher, like it's real people that he's talking to, but they're just different characters in this TV show.
Right. Okay.
It's on Netflix.
Okay.
And one of the things, like his first episode, it's like it's not the drug, it's not the substance, because every substance has a purpose. It all does. The problem is the human relationship to the substance. If you rely on any substance at all, it's not a good substance for you to have. Too much of anything is
a bad.
Good.
Right.
Yeah. And it's just like even with exercising. If you exercise for, I don't know, 128 hours straight, like 4 or 5 days straight, I'm not talking like running, jogging, walking, and you're sleeping, but if you just keep going, it's going to get to a point where you're going to die. And you're
Yeah.
like, well, I had the strength to keep going. Yeah, but you're dead now.
Yep.
So like too much of anything is it's all about balancing the relationship. But I do think that sometimes you have to unbalance to then be able to rebalance.
I get that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like when I was huge, yeah, no, I can't have pizza. I can't have sweets like at all
Hmm.
because I'm huge. I need to
Mhm.
I did it too much. Now I need to rebalance myself back to someone that can have sweets now, right? I couldn't have them before, but now I can. What's one thing that you feel like you've had to like kind of unbalance to rebalance?
It's for one, for damn sure. Like, I mean, I didn't get to a physical place where you could see. I just knew it was bad. You know, and again, I have a goal that I want to be sweets and women.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it was rough at one point. You know what I'm saying? It was rough. You talk about not knowing how to say no, but I also say this, like it was going from being the guy who wasn't cool and stuff like that to being the cool guy. We don't know how to deal with that. We,
Yeah.
we don't. We're not
Being the
right.
host of the event. Yeah.
You don't know how to deal with that. Like I didn't have to say nothing to this chick for her to come up. Like, I'm like, yeah, come on, let's go. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, sweets and women. Yeah, yeah, I had to find balance in that.
Yeah, I mean, you showed with that though, you show confidence, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like a lot of times, like to talk to a woman, like they want to see like, oh, is he confident in himself? But you're like, here I am,
Yeah,
I'm on stage, here I am, here's Lee,
bro.
and they're like, whoa,
Every
she's doing that
event,
in front of everyone.
even as the videographer and photographer, you wouldn't believe it, bro. Like I was at a beach event because number one, I can't help. I'm going to be Lee. I'm going to dance. You got music playing. I know I'm supposed to be working and taking these pictures, but I'm going to dance. I've gotten hired not because they seen the pictures, because it's like, oh my god, you're a good time. We want you as our photographer. What? You don't even know what my pictures look like. Like that's gotten me gigs before. It's crazy. So and then that turns into something different in itself. Oh my gosh, you're so funny. I want to hang out with you and stuff. So,
Yeah, but that's part of the importance of always carrying that positive energy, though.
yeah,
Because people feel that they go, wow, he has pure intentions with this videography. He just wants to have fun.
yeah,
He's a kid at heart. He just wants to have fun. He's doing a good job. He's doing his job. He's not out here trying to like, "Oh, I already took videos, man. You know, I don't need to take more videos or pictures. You're still doing your job, but you're
yeah.
just having fun while doing it." And
Mm,
they say that like, a fool hates what he has to do. A good man or a fool doesn't do what he's supposed to do. A good man does what he's supposed to do, but a wise man does what he does like he loves
I
what
love
he
the way he
does.
does. Yep, yep.
And I think that's why I admire your approach to it so much, man, because I mean, to be able to get to that point, and I truly think that's partial enlightenment, right? To get to that point where you're like, no, I'm working, but I'm still flowing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's truly you're in joy. That's enjoying the process and enjoying your work and
Yeah,
what you do.
yeah.
It's been fantastic having you on this podcast, man. And I would really love to do it again.
Definitely, Joe. Anytime, man. Yeah. I mean,
I would.
bro, even before you invited me on here, even at Crunch, we've always had some dope conversations, man, some one-offs, bro. So I appreciate you so much for having me, man. And that, anything I can do to support, I definitely appreciate you for interviewing me, buddy, because all of our side conversations always turn into something else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like I love people. You're a deep guy, man. So I love it. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me, Joe.
Yeah, dude. Even the phone calls, like, yo, you got 3 minutes just so I can kind of run down it turned into a 45-minute
Right,
conversation.
right.
We are just talking about
Exactly.
everything. Man. So what are some handles people can follow you on for your services, just for your content, everything
Yeah,
like
man.
that?
Content, y'all can find me on Instagram at it's me, ITSME, Lee, IGLEE. For my photography, videography, Instagram page, it's IGLee_videography. And if you want to find me on YouTube, it's my first and last name at Lee Teharte. Look me up, check me out, man. Drop me a DM, hit me a line. If y'all need some videography, photography services, hit me up. And if you just want to drop a comment on my content, man, definitely do that.
Awesome, man. Lee, again, thank you very much. As for all of our listeners, we are on Apple Podcasts, we are on Spotify, we're on YouTube. I drop videos on Instagram. I was doing one a week. I think I'm gonna up that to 2 probably. And as always, stay blessed. Thank you for listening.
All right.